cue that funky music, gay boy.
I think I choked on my water.
Oh, I've been waiting to do that one for a while. Well, not choke you on water, but waiting to make that joke for a while. Oh, good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 108 of Restitching the Tapestry. It's great to see you all.
108.
108. 2008. Let's talk about 2008. What was going on in 2008?
Oh, God. Everything and nothing.
We met in 2008.
Did we meet in 2008 or 2009?
It was 2008.
Oh,
it was like
man.
late. It was fall 2008.
2008, the year of black stretchy pants and flat ballet slippers. Nobody's feet were feeling good walking across campus.
The year of scorched hair for me, very, very long. No split ends, but I looked like a mess. Oh, anyway, so it's great to have you all here. It feels like this week has been kind of a long week, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's been a long one. I don't know, but we're really excited to talk about V cards this evening of every variety. So just stay tuned for that, and of course, we're
going to talk about sex.
We are. I mean, obviously, we personally not going to go into elaborate detail on myself, but we will be freely talking about that because we do, I don't know, we want to promote sex positivity too. I feel like we should be, empowered to have these conversations, especially being that Valentine's Day is just, a few days away, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into positions or anything.
Oh, well, I know. No, I say that though because we know people want to hear that stuff. Like deep down, we know that people are thirsting at the bit for those details. But we're shy, I guess, right? Well, I am, I guess. We're shy. Oh. So how have we been and what have we been up to?
I have been living my best life. Just, trying to, I was working out and then I was on week 3 of working out. And then all of a sudden I just crashed and burned and was like, I'm tired. I'm tired. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But then I saw my nutritionist and she was empowered me. I saw my nutritionist. She was like, Ari, you should eat more. You should eat more. She was just like, my nutritionist is the happy-go-lucky, anti-diet culture grandmother that I never had that just tells me that, you need to eat more and you need to enjoy the things that you eat. And we should do things to combat these negative ideas you have about food, and that there is no such thing as good food or bad food or healthy food or unhealthy food. There's just food, and we need to combat these negative ideas you have.
That's so interesting for someone to say like that though, but like in a very freeing and empowering way too.
She just wants me to be happy and enjoy my life and enjoy food.
I agree with her. Your happiness matters 1000%.
Right. Just the nicest, I think she's younger than me, but she's just the nicest lady. And I was feeling really depressed yesterday because I had kind of a really negative therapy appointment that was just got me in the dumps. But I just through the roof today. I saw my nutritionist. She was like, you know, you could be sad because you're not eating enough.
I mean, that isn't like out of this world to think, right?
I was just like, you know, you might be right.
Oh, so for me, I've been doing pretty well.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty good week for me. I've been very productive. A lot of creative stuff. I've been like on the YouTube front, I've gotten like a lot of creative stuff done, which has been good. On the writing front, not so much.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I've been doing like a lot of school stuff, so that's been kind of like when I'm like in the middle of a semester, that kind of consumes my reading and writing bandwidth. So
God,
like
right?
YouTube kind of becomes like my go-to outlet during that time because it's not what I'm doing at school every day, right?
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, and considering you've been taking classes, like that probably really is, resounding for you, right? Because you are investing that bandwidth in reading and writing and analyzing things. And so,
Yeah.
but I'm managing. Let's see what else has happened this week. I honestly, I don't think anything else has happened for me. Like that's my very low key week, even though it doesn't feel like it's been one. So, current event snapshot. What's been happening in the world?
Oh my God, the earthquakes in Eastern Europe. Holy crow.
I know, and like it's so scary. Like I was watching a lot of the I don't know, like I sometimes will be on TikTok and I will like spiral into like doom and gloom TikTok where people are like one TikTok was like there is a crevice in Africa that's splitting the continent in two and the end of the and I'm just like let's stop at the end of the world rhetoric, please.
What you know, I just recently learned where somebody set the doomsday clock to 90 seconds to midnight.
Really?
Yeah, because of the Ukraine stuff. So the doomsday clock is 90 seconds. It's the closest we've ever been.
Wow, and that's saying something
And
considering
the
during the Cold
anniversary
War.
the anniversary of the invasion is coming up on February 24th, and they're thinking that they're gonna launch some kind of like huge assault. So
Oh, that's scary.
like I'm actually like really concerned about this
Mhm.
month.
Yeah.
So, you know, need to be careful about what's gonna happen. So I'm actually like really concerned about like the end of this month.
Well, I hope that nothing happens, but like I've been seeing some TikTokers talking about that too, where they've been like really worried about, what's to come. And honestly, like regarding the earthquakes, like obviously,
12 at least 1,200 dead initially.
yeah. And well, and see the thing is like Turkey, okay, quick side note, I'm a huge geology nerd. I probably would have gone into that field if I didn't do writing.
Uh-huh.
But Turkey lies on three intersecting tectonic plates, so that means it's extremely susceptible to earthquakes.
Wow.
So, but earthquakes of this magnitude only happen there like once every 50 to 100 years,
Wasn't I heard that there was a 7.6 earthquake like in the early 2000s or something? Wasn't that?
Something like it was something like that. And
But
then, well,
it
like,
was like a
because
really catastrophic one, and like a lot of people died back then too.
well, and see, the thing is, like, what happened the other day was that there was like a huge like was it like a seven like it was like an 8
It was
point
seven.
something.
It was a 7.8.
It was okay, I knew it was close to 8.0, but then it's aftershock, like there was an aftershock that was almost just as strong, which is very uncommon to happen.
Really?
um so that's just kind of scary to think.
Hello,
So
Brian.
let's see who we got. So Arpy is here. I'm glad that my obnoxious laughing amuses you. Leo says, I'm not going to be able to watch this episode. I'm very tired. Well, have a good night, Leo, and feel free to watch us on the replay. And then Brian, hello, Brian. It's good to see you. How have you been doing? Hope you've been doing well. All right. Should we get on to the mission statement and get on to talking about our topic this evening?
Yeah, I'm really sad about with that. You know, we were talking about really depressing things. I guess we're gonna get into a more lighthearted topic now.
I know. Well, and maybe we need it though. Like, I think the world needs some like lightheartedness to make sense of like all of the,
Stuff going on.
heaviness happening,
Yeah.
So, we live in a dynamic society where social media shapes us by creating greater opportunities for connection. It has led to a developing understanding of the adversity many marginalized communities face, the powers causing the adversity, and those who act as bystanders as atrocities take place in real time. Our goal with this show is to have challenging conversations about social topics, current events, pop culture, and art. Together, let's weave the threads of understanding with what privilege we have in order to learn, educate, and create in a world that's growing. Oh, Ryan is here. Ryan is one of my Evanescence friends. I'm in a lot of fandoms, right? So,
Yeah.
Ryan's a phenomenal human being, operates a delightful webzine, which I am obsessed with, plus, a fan page as well called Evanescence Backstage. Shameless self-promotion all across the board.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's talk about Valentine's Day, right? Like
Singles Awareness Day.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm on year 5 of Singles Awareness Day.
Is it Singles Awareness Day or Singles Empowerment Day? No, I shut up, Donny.
Technically I'm not single if I have a vibrator this year, right?
Whew, that caught me. Ooh. Ooh, you messed up my hair and everything. Ari, goodness.
I named him Shaky.
Oh my god. That is so funny. I would say then no, you are definitely not single. Not at all. My only question is, does he make for good conversation? Because we need good conversationalists, don't we?
He definitely gives good lip service, at least.
Oh my god. That was punny.
You're welcome. I have jokes for days.
So, okay, what is Valentine's Day to you? And how do you celebrate whether or not you're single? And you can even talk about like past Valentine's Days too, if you feel so comfortable.
I have a whole day planned for Valentine's Day this year. I'm making a whole video for Valentine's Day, a Valentine's date with me, with my viewers for my YouTube channel. I've got a whole day planned. I don't know if I want to go into the whole details, but I have gone out, not that it's going to be like sexual or anything, but I have gone out and I have bought a new comforter and new sheets for my bed because we're gonna cozy up and we're gonna watch a movie.
Oh,
we're gonna cozy up and watch a movie and we're gonna talk about the movie. I'm not gonna tell which movie it is. I'm not gonna say which movie it is, but we're gonna watch a movie. We're gonna have dinner together, me and my viewers. I'm gonna make a nice dinner. I'm not gonna say what kind of dinner because that's a surprise as well.
That's romantic.
I know. I'm spreading the love with my viewers, and then we're just gonna have a nice little dinner date with me and my viewers.
That like I remember that show I used to do, The Mundane Life of a Gay.
Yeah.
On Valentine's days, I would I would make like a charcuterie board.
Nice.
Why? It was my way of being like, you know what? I'm celebrating Singles Awareness Day at that time. Valentine's Day for me this year, I don't know. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to really do anything this year because I work that day. That's like my long day too. So I'm going to be working from like 10 to like 9 p.m. So it probably won't be much of an event for me or my partner this year.
Aw,
I
you're not
know.
even gonna do anything like over the weekend or anything?
I think we might do something Monday. Like we might go out to dinner or something. We'll see. Like we don't like our Valentine's days are never like when we first got together they were elaborate, but now they're kind of just like, oh, let's go out to dinner, maybe a card once in a while. But that's pretty much it. Nothing like earth shattering. I shouldn't say earth shattering considering what just
Where,
happened. Anyway,
Donnie, where is the love? Where is the love?
what is love?
Baby, don't hurt me.
Now Valentine's Days in the past for me, oh, I used to hate Valentine's Day. Like, and I kind of still don't like the commercialization of it. Like
Absolutely.
it's kind of exhausting. But I used to hate Valentine's Day because I do remember, and I try not to be this person now that I'm with someone, but I remember that there were people who would like take the whole week and make it like Valentine's week,
Oh
and they
my
would
God.
like every day, like 3 times a day they'd post something, and I'm just like, like
People like that make me want to throw up.
I know, and even me too, and I'm just like, like, yes, celebrate that you're happy, I'm totally fine with that, but, like, don't do it to the extent where it's, like, oversaturating everything because,
It's just us.
optically.
It's ostentatious. It's just like we're a happy couple. Look at how happy we are. Oh, you're sad that you're alone. Well, look at how happy we are as a couple. Aren't you sad that you don't have this happy couple life? Those are the type of
Right.
people who post all the time about how happy they are as a couple. Those are the
Mhm.
people who end up cheating on each other and getting divorced.
Right, because, like, the more and more they need to post about it, like, what does that say? Is that, like, a reflection of some sort of insecurity, some sort of vacancy, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I feel that way too. Yeah, but, like, when I was single, I used to, like I would try to treat myself. Granted, now I've gotten to the point in my life where I feel like I should be able to treat myself whenever I want, right? I don't need a holiday to do that.
The only exception I can understand if people wanted to post about like going nuts about Valentine's Day, people who are engaged couples around Valentine's Day, I can understand if they're like newly engaged and they're like around Valentine's Day or like some kind of holiday. I can
Mhm.
understand them going a little hog wild because like if they're you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like if they are freshly engaged, if girlies if girly or whatever, if they got the ring on, if
Mhm.
they got the ring on, they want to show off the ring, they want to show off their whatever partner, do it up. Do it up.
Right.
I say go live your best life.
Do you know what's funny? Like, okay, so here's a question. How do like and this is one that we both can reflect on and then viewers too can as well. How does Valentine's Day differ for cis heterosexual couples versus, LGBTQ plus couples? Like it's always interesting. Um because I feel like
I feel like
for
there's more pressure on cis hetero couples to like perform the actions of um especially like on cis
mm,
hetero males, to perform the actions of showing like the physical action of like doing the performative action of like showing love, of like getting the flowers and the candy and the gifts, the
mhm,
little teddy bears and stuff, like the physical actions of getting those things for their cis hetero partner to show them that they actually care and love them. I feel like there's a lot of like performative stuff involved with that.
Yeah, it almost kind of seems transactional to me sometimes too,
It's
because
very capitalistic, it's very transactional.
yeah.
There's also like a sense that this time of year is around the time that people, if they are about to get engaged, like this is around the time that people ask to the partner to like get engaged or like
Mhm.
get into or like get more into like committed relationships and stuff, that there's like this performative action like that because it's like there's love in the air, so like get them the ring, get them the jewelry, get them the necklace, get them this physical signs that you care about them and have affection for them, get them those physical accessories that show them that you care and want to commit more to them and have that committed relationship with them.
Yeah. No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But I don't know how that is for like I don't know how that is for gay men.
So, like, I feel like for gay men, I mean, granted, my experience isn't universal to everyone's experience, and I think that that should be, mentioned first. But I think that for a lot of gay men, like Valentine's Day, like I think actually for a lot of LGBTQ plus people, they get excited about Valentine's Day because they spent so long not being able to experience it, or they spent so long watching other people experiencing it authentically, where like they yearn for it, right? Kind of like they end up yearning for permanence or a sense of belonging, right? And I think it loses its luster over time because we start realizing just how like capitalistic it is and how at times just performatively artificial it can be. Because the truth is, I mean, I've been with my partner for almost 5 years now, which is horrifying to think because it doesn't feel like it's been that long. No, I'm kidding. It feels like it's been longer. But and that's not a bad thing. But I also feel like for us, we've gotten to a point where Valentine's Day isn't just like that. Like we don't just reserve that day to like be nice or to do kind things or
Yeah.
to care. Whereas I feel like for a lot of cis heterosexual couples, like the like if we're talking about like a relationship between a man and a woman, like the woman is usually wanting Valentine's Day, at least commonly we see, and the man kind of probably due to those pressures makes it seem like it's like, oh, I gotta do this, like, oh, like that humming around about it.
It's
So
kind of like how Catholics will only go to church on Easter and Christmas.
hmm yeah. That's an interesting juxta, but it's true, yeah. But because it's performative, right? Like oh,
It's very
gotta do it to get it over with, and then I'm good. I'm good for a year, kind of a thing.
it's kind of but there's like 2 times a year that cis hetero couples will show each other that they love each other. There's a second holiday. There's Sweetest Day.
I
There's
always forget about
Valentine's Day and there's Sweetest Day.
when is Sweetest Day? I never
Sweetest
remember.
Day I think is in September.
Oh, I don't think I've ever celebrated Sweetest Day.
Yeah.
Never have I ever celebrated Sweetest Day.
That's because it's a cis hetero holiday and not a gay holiday. It's
Maybe we should.
only cis hetero holidays.
Well, I know something that'll really make the cis heterosexuals mad. Like, let's just create an LGBTQ plus Sweetest Day.
There is it's called Celebrating Gay Love is all of July. It's all of July.
You mean all of June?
All of June. Whatever.
You know what? We have a month. How dare we have a month?
You know what?
Right?
I've just taken over July too. We've taken over 2 months. It's all of
Oh
summer.
God, don't say that we're taking over July because we won't hear the end of it.
Independence Day? No. Gay-pendence Day now, bitch.
The gays are taking over again. Oh no.
It's the gay agenda.
I just like when I think of the gay agenda, I just in my mind think of like this underground bunker with a bunch of like cloaked, dramatic thespian gays.
I think when I think of the gay agenda, I think of a war room, and it has like the big board, and it has like the United States, and like various cities have like rainbow flags, and like the like strategically like this is where we mobilize.
This is where we'll do a pride parade this year, this week. Oh, a drag story hour over here. That'll really make them mad.
And like then there's just like, and then like every so often like a unicorn flies over.
A Trojan horse, but like a unicorn being rolled into the town square. Oh, that would be an image. So let's talk about V cards. Let's talk about the innocent kind first. And to start us off, I wrote you a Valentine's card, Ari.
You wrote me, oh my goodness, I feel like such a schlack. You wrote me a Valentine's card.
This is your Valentine's card on a nice little folded piece of sticky note paper. And it says, to Ari from Donny Hart. And the interior says, roses are red, violets are blue. You slay my world, and you know you do.
Donny, that's like the nicest thing. You don't know how much that makes my like week.
Oh, I tell you what, this is a Pushcart Prize nominated poem right here. I'm kidding.
I swear to God, like hold that up to the camera. Let me see it, and open it up slowly. Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
You know, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've mailed each other anything. Maybe I'll mail this to you.
No, don't. No, it's purely digital. You know what?
It's purely digital, but it comes from the heart because I love you.
You don't understand how special that we just shared a moment. That was a very special moment for me, and I really do appreciate it.
Oh, you're not cry.
I feel like I need to make something for you.
You make me so much stuff. You're fine. You're good. But you're going to on the spot, aren't you?
Hang on. Wait. I've got a receipt. Hang on.
Oh my God. I'm excited. See, you can use everyday items. You don't need to go buy a Hallmark card. Use a sticky note. Use a receipt that's on your desk. It's the thought that counts, people. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Oh, I am living my best life right now.
Oh, hang on. I got to put a little heart on there.
So while you're writing that, Ryan says, Chrissy and I don't make a big deal out of V-Day. Never have. Like Donny said, you shouldn't need a day to show love, kindness, and gestures of that love. Right. It should be an everyday thing.
Here, Donny, here's your Valentine. It says, to Donny, you don't smell. Here it is. You don't smell.
Thank you. I'm going to sob. I'm going to sob right now.
Right on the back of my Myers receipt, in which I saved $9.03.
Well, you know, that kind of makes it even more, like, that's a lucky receipt. So the good vibes are being put out there. But no, okay, so I like Valentine's Day from a child's perspective is so interesting to think about. And that's why I wanted to talk about the innocent kind of V card first. Because, like, do you remember celebrating Valentine's Day as a child in elementary school?
Oh my God, you'd have the little box in the front of your desk, and you would get your parents would go out and get the Valentine's cards, and like you would put everybody's name in your class. Like your teacher would give you a class list, and you would put everybody's name down, and you put those little sticker hearts on them, and then you would bring your little Valentines to school, and you would go around the room and put everybody's Valentines in their little boxes.
And then like you would get like give away like those little heart candies too.
Yeah.
It would be like be mine or kiss me or you know something silly, you know. Oh, and I just remember as a kid loving that so much. And then there was just a certain point when we got into like middle school where it just stopped. Like it was just like nope, this is cheesy now. We're done.
It was sort of like, when it stopped? Middle school dances.
Ooh, right. Ooh, middle school dances were so awkward.
Oh my God. That was the first time somebody called me fat, was at a middle school dance.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't
I
there. I
was
would
just
have.
a little
Ooh,
I was just a little kid. Like, who says those things? But
horrible
and you know what
people.
it was? Is that it was because I was being compared to my stepsister. My stepsister was smaller, and everybody always said that she was prettier than me. I was always being compared to my stepsister, and it was because she was 2 weeks older than me. So we always celebrated her birthday. Oh my God, there's so
Oh,
much trauma associated with that. So it was sort of like, but it was always like I became like such a pick me because it was like it was like Katie versus Ari, Ari versus Katie. Who's the better sister? Who's the better sister?
oh, that's exhausting.
But it's like as I got older, I after we went our separate ways after high school. I really became my own person again. But I remember all of like middle school and high school. I had a lot of trauma associated with boys and Valentine's Day and stuff like that because it was always like.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to like V cards and stuff and like virginity and things like that, and like
Mm-hmm.
when it came to like having partners and relationships and stuff, um, it was a very weird thing between the both of us, my stepsister and I. It was always like, I don't know if it wasn't necessarily a competition, but it was always like who could get the most male attention out of both of us. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, who was the most attractive, who could get a boyfriend, who was, we were both pick me's. We were both pick me's in high school. And
Interesting.
I think it just had to do with a lot of trauma with our family that we just were very, we had a lot of women in our family, and there's just a lot of competition for the male gaze.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just a lot of trauma associated with that.
Interesting. Yeah, like so, like speaking about V cards as in virginity. Um, so I guess like let's do we want to like share our like stories with regard to like when we lost it?
So I started dating. I wasn't allowed to date until I was 16. Like, I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend. I wasn't allowed to date. So when I turned 16, shortly afterwards, um, I got a boyfriend. I like there was this guy. His name was Scott. He was a tuba player, and I really liked him. I actually like the story of us getting together is that um, I we went to Disney World together with the band, and we went to Disney World with the band, and I basically like made out with him the whole time at Disney World. Like we went on all the rides and stuff. Like we went in the Epcot ball, and like I made out with him in the Epcot ball.
Oh.
And so like we just spent so much time together, and like I was just like, do you want to be my boyfriend? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This guy was not a genius. This guy was very salt of the earth. He worked at a bowling alley. He I was a sophomore and he was a senior. So he
Mm-hmm.
was he was older than I was. Um he was a meat and potatoes kind of guy. Very, very like we would call each other on the phone, and we would just sit there and not say, be dead silent on the phone. We would just sit there and just like not say anything. My mom was like, "Are you talking to somebody?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And
What?
we would literally just not say anything to each other on the phone for like hours. We would just literally just not talk on the phone because or I would do the talking and he would just not say anything. He would just listen to me talk.
Well, that's wild to me.
It's the he was just he didn't he was just not the he just did not have all of the tools in the toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
He was not a genius. He was not somebody who was very thoughtful. That's why it did not last. So
Amy Lee forever.
so it got to
It's
the
great to
point
see you, Amy Lee.
so it got to the point of where we had been dating for a little while, several months. I turned 17. I turned 17 and we had been making out quite heavily, and it was starting to ramp up. Um, you know, uh, it was starting to get real hot and heavy, and it got to the point of where it was like we were at the beach, and he's like, do you want to?" And we were in his truck, and he had this little white truck with the stick, with the stick. And I said, I was like, I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. We were in a committed relationship. It was somebody who I was with, and that I felt comfortable with, and I was like, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. I think I can do this. Um, so we did it. And so I don't have any regrets about my first time, because I was with somebody who I liked, and we were together for a while. And it was something that I had thought about, and that we had actually gotten comfortable with each other, and that it wasn't like there was pressure into sex. It was just like we had kind of like progressed into it.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of like
A
it just happened.
gradual.
I think the only regret that I have is that we did it in his truck, and like I would have rather have preferred to have done it in a bed, because god dang, that stick shift in my back, like that was not fun. That was not fun.
That does not sound pleasant.
It was not pleasant. It was very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. But like we didn't have anywhere to go, because I had family, he had family. It was not pleasant, but in that sense. But it was, I went home, and I was just like, I was bleeding, because after if for women, for
Mm-hmm.
vagina havers, if you when you have sex, it breaks. I didn't actually. I had broken my hymen a little bit before that, because I was using tampons. 'Cause they don't tell you that. They say that you break your hymen during sex, but actually I broke my hymen using tampons.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, but I actually broke something else during. I broke something else during. So there was a little bit of bleeding, but it wasn't as significant as like.
Mm-hmm.
But I broke because yeah. So I broke my hymen during using tampons. So it wasn't like, yeah, whatever. So it's fine. But
I mean, nevertheless, like I would like, like further injuries can happen during the act, like no matter what stage you are in life,
right,
too.
but he was very gentle with me. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like but yeah, and so for me that's what my first time was like. Um I mean, was it great? I mean, it still was kind of painful. I mean, your first time was
Mm-hmm.
always going to be a little bit painful, but it was still nice. It was still nice. But it was yeah. But I've never had
So,
any shame associated with sex, and that's been like one of my greatest saving graces.
well, I'm glad that you haven't had that shame associated with it, because I know, like, I mean, for a lot of people that does happen too. For me, oh, it's going to be interesting to explain. So content warning, I'm going to be talking about sexual assault. My first time I was sexually assaulted. Um, and so like whenever I'm asked like, well, how did you lose it? Like I have to think about the answer of like, do I go literally by the standard of like this violation that happened, or do I go by like when I actually first had a meaningful sexual relationship with someone that did not feel invasive, right?
I think you should talk about both, because I think it's important to
Yeah.
talk about both.
Yeah, and I plan to. So like way back in 2007, I had just come out. I think this was like a year before I met you. So I had just come out and I was starting college, and for gay men, there's like this pressure of like your sexual output as being some sort of currency or some sort of measurement for your worth. And at that time, like a lot of gay men would like really judge me and not be interested in me because I was a virgin. And because of that, that really kind of made me want to expedite the process. Like that made me it kind of motivated me even more to like have that,
Breakthrough experience.
that breakthrough experience, that
Did
level
you
up,
did you see virginity as a curse?
Not necessarily. I more or less saw it as like this obstacle in my way between actually finding somebody who wanted to be with me.
So
Like there
kind of
was,
more like a weight.
yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, um, there was, you know, an individual who preyed on that and basically gaslit me into thinking that if it wasn't with him, that it wouldn't be with anybody else.
Oh.
And I did not I feel comfortable with it. I um expressed that I didn't want it, and it still happened anyway. But the thing is, like after it happened, like as a gay man at that time, like I didn't think of it as like a bad thing. I was just like, well, I guess that's that then, like, oh well, it's over with. But then the older I got, and when I started therapy, I realized that I had trauma connected to that experience. And it went far deeper than I thought, and it impacted my ability to feel intimacy with other people. And I didn't have, a meaningful, intimate exchange of that nature, but like of a consensual nature, until I was probably 20, 22, somewhere around that. And when I was able to finally like let go of that trauma a bit, like it's still, I mean, it got better. Now, years later, um, I still harbor some trauma. I still do. Like it's still there. Like it kind of like impacts like my perception of my body at times, and sometimes like certain movements might, you know, bring back something, or I know for me, if you read my first collection of poems, Carbon Footprint, there is one poem in there that basically illustrates what I remember from that experience, and it's the poem Manifestations of Gray. And it's because like I remember that it was a winter day, and that like, it was overcast, everything was so gray, the interior of where I was, like gray everywhere, just gray, 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 gray. So like that became like the only thing that I could really remember. So now I am in a much better place now, and I've made a lot more peace, and I am able to like feel a sense of intimacy, which is good. But it took a lot of work to get there. It took a lot of like unlearning, um, well, not unlearning, but like addressing that trauma and understanding it and working through it. And I think that it's something that doesn't get talked about enough, honestly, because like the LGBTQ plus community does navigate like a lot of sexual, violence, and it's not discussed because it's not deemed as being a priority, or like there is like a lot of stereotypes associated with promiscuity, which like
Mm.
just makes people think that, oh well, you wanted it, oh which is really kind of dark when you think about it. So um but that's my really sad my
There's a
sad
shared
story.
experience with femmes and women too. That like she was asking for it because of the way they dressed,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sort of like, well, you were drunk, so like you were all over me, and
Yeah.
it's like you had you know you know what you wanted, and it's like, how are you going back on this now that you're sober? Like it was a crazy night for both of us. Like, you're gonna lambast me now, and it's like, because I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sort of like people don't, yeah.
People just minimize it, and because like a thing is that a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about it too, so they like sometimes inadvertently and sometimes vertently, if that's a word, will minimize it because of their discomfort, when they don't realize that that's like also steamrolling over the person that happened to. So,
But
um,
that's
oh,
what
go
I
ahead.
liked about because Valentine's Day, watched the vagina monologues, and part of the vagina monologues they talk about how men are also sexually assaulted, and that
Mm-hmm.
men experience uh, sexual assault just like as often, and not as often, but with an alarming regularity as women do, and so that they bring that up during the
Right.
vagina monologues. So if you have a chance, turn on the vagina monologues on Valentine's Day if you've
Oh
never
yeah.
seen it.
The vagina monologues are amazing, very empowering, very cathartic. I remember attending it when I was doing my undergrad at CMU.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like the implications of the V card being like this rite of passage. So like if you watch media, okay, so I keep thinking of these early 2000s like rom-coms or like these like movies where they go to camp and it's like the whole storyline's about like, well, we have to compete to lose our virginity because if we don't, then we're not men. Or and I've seen it
Do you remember
with naked
American
women
Pie
too.
where he's like trying to have sex, but like the whole movie he's having sex in other ways? And so like he's trying to have like one specific kind of sex, but the whole movie he's like already lost his virginity in other ways. So it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
so weird to me. Like he's having like oral sex. He's like having so much sex, and like they're not classifying that as sex because it's like it's not deemed like penetrative cis hetero sex. It's so weird to me. Have you ever seen that
Mm-hmm.
movie? Like
Yeah, I have.
it's like
That's
they're
it would be an interesting movie to like really do a deep dive analysis on because like there's so much to unpack.
but he's like but they're like and they're talking about like losing their V card and stuff, and he's literally having sex like the whole movie. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
not it's literally not it's not the kind of, yeah.
Well, it's like it's so tied to like worth, I think, like self-worth. Like because if you
Yeah.
watch other media, like it's always tied to that demonstrating that you are a man or a woman, right? Like if you're able to do this. And it's so interesting. It's so interesting. D. Duval 59 says, I've only seen American Wedding, none of the other ones. I don't think I've seen that one. Have you seen that one, Ari?
Yes, I've seen American Wedding. I I hate to admit it. I have seen far more movies in the American Pie series than I should be willing to admit. I have seen quite a few movies in the American Pie series. It's sometimes you just got to watch trash movies for trash minds.
I
Um,
mean, yeah.
I am a trash goblin, but I have watched quite a few movies in the American
I
Pie series.
can't I can't criticize because look at all the reality TV that I watch all the time.
I
Like
try not
it's
to watch reality TV as much as possible, but I have watched American.
I was Ari, I was watching Jersey Shore the other day
Oh no!
and I forgot how much of a train wreck that show was.
Oh no!
Oh, because the entire premise of every episode was like going out and who are we going to bring home tonight kind of a thing.
Absolutely,
College was
absolutely.
wild. College was wild. Um, so before you lost your V card, did you have a romanticized notion of losing it?
Um, Maybe a little bit, not really. I wasn't like laying around going like, what's my first time gonna be like? I wasn't like one of those people.
I wasn't either. And see, but what I mean, obviously, it was a shock to me considering what happened. But I like had like this vision that it would be a far more romantic, consensual experience than it actually was.
I was an early teenager that used to lie around and think about what dicks look like because I had no idea. Like for the longest time, I had no idea what a dick looked like. Like I literally would just like lay around and be like, I wonder what a dick looks like. And like I had this idea that it looked kind of like a vibrator. Like it just looked like it looked kind of like swoopy, like
Mm-hmm.
just like very smooth. And like
You trying to describe it is probably the highlight of this episode. It looked swoopy.
it just looked like very like a hot dog or something. It just looked like, it, I couldn't imagine what it looked like. Like it just, or it looked, like those old like statues where it just looks like very flat and like the balls just kind of like come down on top of it and just like this very oval like it that's what I just imagined they looked like. Like I didn't have like any notion of what a penis looked like when I was a kid.
But like everybody at school though would shame people for that though too. Like they would shame me, be like, you don't know what that is, you don't know, and I'd be like, no, what, like
like
no,
what
except
I mean? Like,
when I was in high school though, if anybody even alluded to it, I'd be like, I need to pray and not think of gay things. I shouldn't laugh about that, but looking back on it now, it's kind of funny. Like I remember, oh my god, Ari, I would like have a gay thought in like school and I would go home and pray for like 2 hours over it.
do you remember, actually, I feel like what was more traumatizing than sex was my first kiss. I feel like my first kiss was more traumatizing than the first time I
Really?
had sex. Because
How
I was so fucking nervous the first time I was leading up to my first kiss. So nervous. My hands were sweating. I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it.
like it's interesting. Like so my first actual meaningful consensual kiss with somebody who I really had feelings for, like I don't remember, like I felt nervous, but it was more so anticipation kind of a feeling. Because like I feel like anticipation feels different than like nervousness. To me, it does. Like you get that like warmth in your sternum and like butterflies, of course.
I was so nervous. So this is before I met my boyfriend. This was his friend. And he also worked at the bowling alley. And so I was just hanging out with him. And this is how I actually met. Like I didn't know that they knew each other. So I was hanging out with him. He's this IT nerd. He was just this dorky guy. So I was hanging out with him. And like he was like, oh, I have to get back to work. And I was like, he's got to get back to work. I was like, my palms were sweating. I was like, I'm going to kiss him really quick. So then I like ran up to him and I like leaned up and I like kissed him. And I was like, I thought really quick. I was like, kissing's weird. I was like, why are his lips so puffy? Why are his lips so fucking puffy? And like I pulled away really quick and like we like looked at each other and I was just like, my eyes got really big and then I like ran away.
No, like I don't blame you. Ari, kissing is weird when you think about it.
When you're a teenager, kissing is weird. Kissing is so much weirder than sex.
Well, and the thing is like because like everybody does it kind of differently. Like
everybody does it so differently.
Like I remember one time I was on a date and I was in college and like I like kissed this person and like I was fully like expecting like a nice little like soft press of a kiss. They like vice gripped my face with their mouth.
Oh no.
And I was like, do I need to get like rabies shots now? Like what's going on? Like is there blood that's been drawn? Like I had to be
Do you
like,
want to hear about the worst kiss I've ever had? Do you want to hear about the worst kiss I ever
I
had?
absolutely do.
I will leave names out of this because this person deserves anonymity because it was a terrible kiss. So I was at community college. And this was during the election of George W. Bush and John Kerry. So I was working at the newspaper, and this person was also, I don't know if they were a reporter, but we were both working on being politically active. So we were out and about, working the phone banks. We were working the phone banks, and so he was like, "Oh, you want to hang out sometime?" Because we were out canvassing for Carrie, and I was like, "Oh yeah." So I was just like, "Oh,
Oh yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna kiss," and I was like, "Oh yeah." So he walked me in my car. Very nice boy. He's a very nice boy. There's nothing wrong with him personality wise. He's a very nice person. He was great. He leaned down to kiss me. He put his whole mouth over mine and then put his tongue in my mouth. I was like, what is this person doing? He like suctioned my whole mouth. I don't know. I was horrified. I was like, what is this person doing?
I'm
I literally
horrified
did
just
that.
hearing about it.
I literally like pulled away, and I was like, there was like literally saliva all the way around my mouth. I was like, I literally had to do one of these, and I was just like, okay, good night.
Oh my god.
It
That's
was literally
horrifying.
like a fish sucker on my face. It was literally like a
Oh,
fish
one of those
sucker.
like those fish that are like on the bottoms of the tank, just like.
It was like that. Like he literally like pushed his whole. I was like the worst kiss I've ever had in my entire life, and like I still remember it to this day, and I still have like horrified. Like I still get like secondhand embarrassed. I'm like, I really hope he learned how to kiss after that because that was literally the worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire
Well,
life.
it's been 20 years. If he's not figured it out by now, then there's no hope.
I really hope so because he deserves.
Okay, so one more kiss story.
Okay.
So okay, I told you about like the Sharknado kiss that ripped my face off. Well, there was another person who didn't do long slow kisses. They were like mwah, mwah, mwah. Like I literally, whenever this person would kiss me, it literally felt like a bird pecking me in the face.
Oh no.
And I remember one time getting a bloody nose from they missed my lips because they weren't paying attention. They hit my nose, a bloody nose. I was just like, I had a moment. This was in college too. I was just like, am I feeling this sad and lonely, or should I just move forward?
Have you ever kissed somebody and it was so good that you could hear music playing?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh
It's like
yeah.
I've had so
When
many
I
good kisses in my life that like it's like you just want it to last forever.
when I kissed, I know when my partner and I kissed for the first time, that's kind of how it felt.
Yeah.
It felt like that. Um and I remember in college, that first time, not like the Sharknado kiss, but I don't know why I'm calling it the Sharknado kiss. But the first person I was able to make a connection with after my sexual assault, that felt like one of those moments because it felt like a free moment. I was like, I'm free to do this. Okay, so I want to catch up on the comments really quick. D Duval 89 says, I remember the second person I kissed, that was the most aggressive kiss I've ever had, and I was not prepared for it. Oh, I do. Amy Lee Forever says, I once had this chick with a small pointy tongue who literally did a drilling job at me when we kissed. Oh no. Basically. Then D. Duval says like the electricity. Yeah, it is kind of like an electric, right? Like I think that's where like that warm sternum feeling comes from that I was talking about. You know what I just realized, Ari? We could do a part 2 to this. Like, should this be like a Valentine's Day tradition?
Absolutely. I was just saying, like, we could talk about this every Valentine's Day.
So like next season we will have V cards part 2 because we literally have like a ton of questions left over. So okay, so let's finish off on let's think about whether or not like people should feel shame. Like should a person feel shame if they've not lost their virginity? Should they feel the pressure to lose it?
No. Oh my
No.
God. No.
Absolutely not, right? Like and the thing is like
I think there's just like a societal expectation that you have to like lose it at a certain point in your life. But there, when it's time, and just when you've met the right person, and when it's like I met somebody and I was like I said, I was in a committed relationship, and that's when it happened for me, is because I felt safe with that person and we had been going together and it naturally progressed into sex. But that's because I was in a committed relationship. I have friends who have not had sex, and that's fine. Like it doesn't need to. It only happens when it happens. Like there's no. I feel like people pressure themselves into, I've got to lose it at this time and I've got to do it this way, and it's because I need to be like everybody else. You don't need to be like everybody else.
right,
You can be your own person.
And the truth is there's so many diverse ways to be intimate with people consensually, right? So like I think once people start realizing that, and once society starts accepting that, and I think we have improved on that, but I think once it gains more traction, then there will be far less of a pressure to check that box, right? Because that's really what it feels like for a lot of people. That's what it felt like for me. It felt like, well, I needed to check off this box so I met a certain criteria to appeal to people, but that's really not what it should be about, right?
Right.
So, man, we covered a lot of ground tonight. We had our funny moments, we had our sad moments, but ultimately it was a really good conversation. And the truth is, like, I think people should be empowered to have conversations about this because it's so integral to the human experience, you know? So, all right, any parting words for the night?
If you're ace or arrow, you don't have to have sex. It's okay. But sex is okay if you want it to.
Love it. All right, everyone, you have a good rest of your night. And we don't have an episode next Thursday, but we will be coming back on, what's that date? The 23rd. We'll be back on the 23rd, my friends. We love you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.